Hello everyone. After reading some of your entries for the Muddiest Point discussion board assignment, I began to wonder if you are watching the required lecture videos. Please keep in mind that this class is not just about reading the textbook and doing the quizzes, homework, and exams within Canvas. I've posted lecture videos and demonstration videos in which I illustrate how to solve a variety of problems from each chapter. The lecture videos are in lieu of coming to a face-to-face lecture on campus. I recognize that there are several ways of accessing the course material from Canvas. I've tried to simplify things by creating a shortcut button from the home page that takes you directly to the chapter we're working on. Here it says Begin Week 3, and that will take us to this week's chapter, which is Chapter 2. Each chapter begins with a list of objectives and a to-do list. This to-do list ensures that you will master these objectives. Once you've read this page, then you need to use the next button to progress through the material in the logical fashion it's been presented. So here you are presented the lecture for section 2.1 and 2.2. You'll notice that you are often presented 1 to 2 lectures and then followed by a learning check. So this is all set up sequentially, that I don't expect you to complete the learning check until you have read those sections and watched the lecture videos. Again, after you've completed that learning check, you'll be presented another lecture video, usually 1 to 2 lecture videos, followed by a learning check. After you've completed the learning checks, you are given the option to view these videos, which are the solutions to the odd number problems for each chapter. Notice up here I have tabs. So the first lecture video covers problems 1 through 9, the odd numbered problems, and then the second tab covers problems 11 through 23. Again, those are the odd numbered problems. This is an optional resource, but very helpful if you are struggling with the homework in APLIA. The APLIA homework problems are the even numbered problems from each chapter. If you utilize this, again, that is up to you. It is highly recommended, but once you go through those videos, then you're presented the Muddiest Point discussion board. At this point, you should have already read the chapter, completed the learning checks, watched the lecture videos, and if I can reorder that, actually, it should be you read, you watch the lecture, you take the learning checks. And then if you think it's necessary to watch the demonstration videos on how to solve the problems for each chapter, by all means do that before you post to the Muddiest Point discussion board. I did notice that several students were citing sections that were unclear. At this point, there shouldn't be that much confusion. It should be, a concept, a calculation, something that you're still not understanding. But if you're posting that you don't understand entire sections, then that is telling me that perhaps you haven't gone through that logical sequence of reading, viewing lecture, and completing the learning check. After you post something to the discussion board, then you are taken to the page where you complete APLIA homework. And I understand that some of you may be going directly to aplia.com. That's fine, but again, the course is set up so that you use the next function and you progress through the material in a logical fashion. Here again, I want to point out that you must submit using the Submit Assignment button here in the upper right hand corner, that your screenshot should include your score and your percent. And it should look like this. I do not want the email receipt sent via APLIA. And the reason is that I can see the item numbers that you may be having difficulty with, and that will help me provide the additional instruction or recommendations to ensure that you master that material before you move on. And then finally, after you've completed the homework, you're presented with this summary page for that chapter where we revisit the learning objectives that were presented and then list the assignments that you completed to meet those objectives. Now, I understand there are other ways of accessing the material in Canvas. One way is to select modules, which list all the modules that we are covering. If you access modules, I would recommend that you condense the information that you've already covered. So if we condense all that information, it minimizes the scrolling necessary to access the material that we are working on this week. So for instance, we're working on chapter 2, so you can access it in the same way instead of using the shortcut button from the home page. But again, I still want you to progress through this section using the next button, page by page. What I do not want you to do is to note a due date. For instance, a learning check quiz is due. I don't want you to go directly to the quizzes section and complete that quiz, nor do I want you to click on assignments when your Applia homework is due. If you do this, please make sure that you've gone through that sequence of material that's been presented. Again, you read, you watch the lecture video, you take notes while you're engaging in those two activities, you take the learning checks, then you complete your homework, and then you move on to the next bit of material. So again, if you're just logging on and accessing these navigation buttons, you're essentially missing the majority of the required course material. So I hope this clarifies what the expectation is. Again, you're required as an online student to spend a certain amount of time within the course. Those lecture videos have been embedded to ensure that the material is presented to you, and that should help you understand the material. You will see that as we move through the course, each chapter will become a little more challenging. You cannot rely on simply reading the textbook to do well. I should say there are a few students that are able to do this, but the majority of students require instruction, which takes place in the lecture videos. So again, each week, I recommend that what you do is use those shortcut buttons and begin from page 1 and move your way through to the end of the module, the end of that chapter, using the next button. I hope this helps. Please contact me if you have any questions. Thank you.